And we are going to an executive session to discuss an issue concerning details of the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation. Do I have a motion? Motion by Jerry. Do I have a second? Second by Pat. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. We are going to executive at 7:03. Good evening, everyone. Oh, thank you for your patience. Good evening, everyone. Sorry about the long wait. I know you guys have a lot going on. Everyone wants to get home. We're going to resume the open meeting at 7:53, and we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. All right. Subject C is a memorial resolution for Kay Poley Rosenberger. Whereas Ms. Kay Poley Rosenberger served as a staff member, Tri-Valley Central. Ms. Kay Poley Rosenberger served as a teacher for the Tri-Valley Central School District, and whereas Ms. Kay Poley Rosenberger passed away March 31st, be it resolved that the Tri-Valley Central School District extends its thanks to Ms. Kay Poley Rosenberger for her service, and that the Tri-Valley Central School District extends its sympathy to the family of Ms. Kay Poley Rosenberger during this time of mourning. Up next, we have number 4, correspondence. We have no correspondence tonight. So we're going to go to item 5, public comment session for items that are on tonight's agenda, which we have none. And then we're going to go to presentations. And up first, we have Sullivan County BOCES.
Thank you. With me tonight is Vicki Ferguson. Vicki is our Director of Finance and Management Services. We're also joined by a familiar face to the board, Mr. Stryker, who is the Vice President of the Sullivan County BOCES Board. And I would like to acknowledge Tammy Shabodi, who is also your representative on the Sullivan County BOCES Board. So we're here to provide you with just some information about your BOCES services and participation. So we're going to get right to it. Hope I know how to do this. Perfect. So we wanted to start talking, obviously, about the part of the BOCES that most people are familiar with, and that's our instructional services. So you send students to us for special education, for alternative education, and for career and technical education. I'm not sure how aware the board is of the tremendous growth in our CTE program. We have over 740 CTE students participating in our programs. And we have actually expanded programs and added teachers. So in the past, we had 2 culinary, 2 cosmetology, 2 public safety. Those were kind of standard. Now we actually have 2 electrical teachers and 2 welding teachers. The growth in our so we have 75 kids in auto tech, over 60 kids in welding, 95 kids in health occupation. So these are programs that prepare students not only for college, but also the workforce. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the credentials and certifications in those areas in a little bit. From a special education perspective, this graph outlines your enrollment over the last 3 years. Currently, you have 11 students in our special ed program. We offer 4 different program ratios. They're smaller class sizes, typically class sizes that you wouldn't offer here. We have an 811 program, an 811 with some psychiatric therapeutic services embedded in it. And then the program with the most growth is our 813 program.
Our alternative education program is for students who might not be special ed, but might benefit from a smaller classroom. And so the middle school middle school alt ed class was actually just added in the 24-25 year. We've had the high school for a while now, but then we added the middle school because the district saw a need for that. So that was something that BOCES was able to add based on the request from our districts. And then this is Thomas. He's a Tri-Valley student who is in our architecture program.
So this chart is what I was talking about. This is all of your students by program over the last 3 years. So you can see you've had increases in broadcasting. Electrical is also a popular program for Tri-Valley students, natural resources, and public safety. And 42% of your juniors and seniors are attending CTE programs over at our campus. Like I said, CTE is an opportunity to prepare you for college or the workforce. We work very diligently with institutions of higher ed. We have articulation agreements for all of our programs. So some of our students are earning extra college credits when they're participating in our programs, or they're able to waive certain criteria that would normally they would have to take at like a community college. A full example is if you go to Ulster County Community College for their vet tech program, all of the clinical hours that you need as the prerequisite are waived. And again, you're earning some college credits, which obviously lessens the time that students have to attend a 2 or 4 year institution of higher ed. CTE students also have an opportunity to earn a technical endorsement. This is a great statistic for Tri-Valley. 74% of your CTE students are taking the initiative to do that. So in order to be eligible for that endorsement, they have to be eligible for a Regents diploma. They have to complete the 2-year program. They have to participate in a work-based learning experience, and they have to complete a senior project. So they're going above and beyond to earn this credential, and they have to pass a technical assessment.
So this graph shows your 25-26 year-to-date costs just for the student costs. As you can see, the majority there in orange, those are your students. And then the next largest is your career in tech. The green up top is your related services. So those, are, for example, are OT, PT, speech, other services that the students require that they receive while they're within the BOCES. Moving forward, we're really excited for some of the COSER enhancements that we're looking forward to for next year. First of all, in arts and education, we are starting a program where you can purchase musical instruments through the BOCES. So rather than purchasing them as a school, you can purchase them through arts and ed, and then you would get your BOCES aid on those purchases. So that's something that's exciting that we've expanded that COSER to include. Another one that's new is the early college access, and the state has reworked this one a little bit. So when the district pays tuition for your students who participate in early college, whether that's through SUNY Sullivan or one of the other colleges that you participate with, in addition, if you go through this COSER, in addition to getting aid on the tuition, you can now get aid on a portion of the teachers' salaries. And that's something that's typically not allowed, but it's an exception that the state has made for this COSER to make it more viable for more districts. So that's really exciting. And then we're also expanding our technology services, including network and cybersecurity.
Again, on the non-instructional side, we do a lot of professional development and collaboration with your administrative teams in district. We restructured our ISS department several years ago. We used to have staff employed by us in like math and ELA, and we eliminated those able to use track services, which basically enables each district to identify your own specific initiatives and then hire a professional that's best suited to meet those needs. So some examples that Tri-Valley utilized the services of Peggy Golden, who's a math consultant. You also used it for Mosaic, and you participate in our countywide conference day. Your administrators also can participate in APPR training. As we all know, we have to go through that annual training and a variety of other PD meetings and initiatives that we do on a countywide basis. Other collaborations and initiatives, we do a lot of coordination of RFPs on a countywide basis. If one entity, like the BOCES, is writing the RFP, it saves time, it's more efficient, we're sharing in the cost of the legal services, et cetera. We just issued an attorney's RFP for legal services for Tri-Valley, the BOCES, and the Rockland Central School District. We've done external auditing, we've done medical director, architects. So again, we're all collaborating. It makes us efficient and it saves us all money. We also have a cybersecurity RFP that we did on a countywide basis. I know that that's been a focus for the BOCES as well as districts. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So we always have to be hyper vigilant. So it's nice to collaborate and share best practices. And again, the 4 county wide, we're the hub, Sullivan County BOCES infrastructure. I don't know why that's doing that, sorry. And so we work with Ulster BOCES and the rest of the JMT to go out to bid for our internet and our wide area network services.
So typically people are familiar with the instructional services that a BOCES provides, but we also provide non-instructional services. So for example, Tri-Valley participates in our health and safety, our telecommunications, and our central business office. So we can provide those services to the district through collaboration in the same way that we do on the instructional side of the house. And so, for example, when you have to do the lead testing in your water or your fire inspections and that sort of thing, that's something that we work with your district with. And then Tri-Valley does participate in our central business office, which is something that falls under my umbrella. And we help you with processing your accounts payable and your payroll and that sort of thing. And so that's just an example of the non-instructional side of the house that we help you with. We also try to work really closely with our community partners. I think that that's really important, especially in a county like ours, where we have the limited resources that we have. It's important to leverage that as much as we can and work together. So one thing that we've been working on is the Catch My Breath. That's actually the money that we from the Juul settlement, and it's an anti-vaping program, and we're working with Sullivan 180. There is about $50,000 a year that goes towards that program, the Catch My Breath program. No, I keep moving my head. And so that's one of the other ones. We already talked about the early college access and then the regional certification officer. That's something we're looking at. And with SUNY Sullivan, they are offering a workshop where aides can become teaching assistants. And then we have other programs in the works actually to hopefully focus on that, because we all need staffing in those areas, because that's also a shortage across the county.
So similar to a school district, we also have capital needs. We are in phase 2 of our roof project at our main building. Those plans have been approved by SED, and we are out to bid for that project. That's the first 2 wings when you enter our main campus. And we're extremely excited, and we'll be sharing some more information if you're coming to our annual meeting. And I know some of you have already RSVP'd about our cosmetology renovation. The picture to the top left is an artist rendering of the new renovated space. And again, that is also close to go out to bid.
This is a summary of your overall cost for Sullivan BOCES. Previously, we just looked at the student pie, and this one here is a chart that shows all of the costs. You'll see that the student programs are the majority of the services that you receive from Sullivan BOCES. And then the next slide has a breakdown of your total cost. And then the previous slide didn't include what we call cross contracts, those services that you get from other BOCES. So for example, you participate in the Mid-Hudson Regional Information Center, that's the RIC. And so you get a lot of your tech COSERs through there. You also use board docs, right? We're using board docs tonight. That comes through another BOCES. And then officials for your sporting events. That's another example. So those are just examples of cross contracts. And then, so you have your Sullivan BOCES costs, your other BOCES costs, or cross contracts as we call them, and then your total, and then your BOCES aid. I do want to say that your special education doesn't receive BOCES aids. It receives a different type of aid that's called high cost aid. And so that's not included in that BOCES aid line, though you do receive aid for those services. And then the surplus refund, which is how BOCES, at the end of the day, any money that is not spent by a BOCES gets returned to the school districts. And so that's what that surplus refund is.
And just to sum it all up, we're really a partner to your district and to all of the districts in the county. We work very hard at all administrative levels, evaluating service for opportunities to revamp services or add services. There was a superintendent's meeting a couple weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago. We just applied for a strategic planning coaster as a result of some input that was provided to us at that meeting. We talked about the shortage of staff. We received an $800,000 New York State Department of Labor grant. We have 13 individuals in a training to become special ed teachers, E&L, and other secondary subjects. Were also focus areas that students, like an alternate pathway to certification. We, the BOCES, are fortunate that we had 4 teaching assistants sign up for that program. One of them is graduating, and we just hired her to start an 813 class in September. Some of our classes have not been able to run because we have not been able to hire certified special ed teachers. It's definitely been a challenge. And so not only did we get to hire her, but we have 3 more teachers in the pipeline that we'll be able to hire over the next 2 years. So that's really exciting for us. And the remaining participants in that program are from districts in Sullivan County. So we're really trying to build our own and encourage people to enter the education field. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have. I really hope that if you haven't registered for our annual meeting on April 15th, next Wednesday, that you might change your mind and come. The menu looks fabulous. Your culinary students have been working hard preparing, and we have a lot of exhibits and interactive experiences for you to join us.
I had a question for you about the early college COSER and the savings for the district. Is that going to lower the cost for parents? I'm paying tuition for 3 kids right now. 2 of them at college, one of them is still here. Is that going to do anything to help lower our costs? We do have a reimbursement for a portion, but I'm just curious how that COSER comes into play.
Sure. So there are specific rules tied to that COSER. We have 2 districts participating now and another one that is signing up to participate. And so you cannot charge parents tuition if you participate in the early college access COSER. So the district has to pay the tuition on behalf of the students and not charge the parents. Then the district gets aid on the tuition that they pay the BOCES. And then, as Vicki mentioned, we just got SED approval. They modified the COSER so that anyone teaching, so if I'm teaching the composition class for SUNY Sullivan here, then there's a spreadsheet that we have with a formula, and we work with your administrative team to identify the salaries and the portion. So if I'm a teacher and I have 8 periods of the day and I'm teaching 3 in early college access, we prorate it, and then you will also get aid on that salary. But there can be no expenses to the individual students. As a parent, a former Tri-Valley parent with 2 kids who earned a lot of college credits here, it is very beneficial, even if you pay for them. My daughter graduated a year early, so I see the value in it, whether you're paying or the district is paying.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Next up, we have the superintendent's report.
You're doing a second. Good evening, everyone. I have some exciting things to share. If you have not noticed our Facebook, Melody Menke, our communication person, is working with Mrs. Eberly and Mrs. Kenny and created a senior spotlight. So we are spotlighting a senior a day. It comes out at 5 o'clock. So check out our Facebook. We have 3 seniors on there randomly so far. They are in random order for 2 reasons. Once you get to your senior year in high school and your last name starts with Z, you've been at the end of the line for your whole career. And the other is we're hoping to motivate some of our seniors who haven't completed it yet. We have 4, if you're watching the board meeting, 4 of you get it done. So we're spotlighting a senior a day. So it's really well done. It's just got a nice little blurb and been very popular. A little update on the Goose Patrol. I don't even know if I want to jinx anything. If you've noticed, we've got more flags going around the pond right now. We did have 2 geese there. We have not seen any geese in the last couple of weeks. The field is being used by our PE classes now during the day, and track, of course, is out there But again, it doesn't look bad. Our custodians and our maintenance team honestly have been out every day rearranging the decoys. As soon as the weather dries, we'll get things spread, and then the beacons are ready to be installed. And again, I think Jesse and his crew are just waiting for the weather to break. But we're watching it. We're keeping an eye on it, and let's just hope that we can limit it a little bit this year. Our third guidepost is in the making and will be out after the third marking period to again spotlight all of our students making honor roll. In front of you is a copy of the ad that we placed. The Sullivan Democrat asked the district if the board would like to make a statement to put in to congratulate the seniors. So this is the statement, and you will see that coming out to congratulate our class of 2026 pretty soon. Our iReady data presentation will be at our next board meeting, which is Tuesday, April 28th. Some business on the Civil War exemption. In order for us to legally process and approve the Civil War exemption, we need to hold a public hearing for that. So I am recommending that the board approves a resolution to hold the public hearing at the 28th meeting. So the resolution will be on the agenda for the April 28th meeting to hold the public hearing. And then we're going to schedule the public hearing for the Cold War exemption for June 11th. Pending approval from our bargaining units, we are proposing our 2 emergency give back days to be used on Friday, May 22nd and on Tuesday, May 26th. So fingers crossed, we hope we've moved to the other side of the temperature gauge, and if all goes well, we'll have a nice break at Memorial Day before we kick in the end of the school year. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. Then we're going to move to items the board wants pulled from tonight's agenda. All right, we have a request to pull number 11 from the agenda. Do we have a second on that? Is that a motion? All right. We got 11 on the side. All right. So consent agenda, resolution to approve the entire consent agenda minus item 11. Do I have a motion? Motion by Pat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. Any discussion prior to vote? All right, please. Now we have to vote by hand, correct? Be a hand vote, right hand if you are in favor. All right. Unanimous, minus item 11. So let's go to item 11, Sullivan 180 Grants Healthier Generation Competition Grant. George, you have your conversation.
Yes.
Could you sort of go into detail of what you're going to be spent on?
Yes.
Each
So
one separately?
yes. Okay. Let me pull them up and then I can explain them to you. So the elementary and the secondary school are doing an internal and an external hands-on, what do you call it? Outdoor classroom. So the secondary school is going to have an outdoor classroom and the elementary school is going to have an indoor classroom that kind of represents an outdoor classroom. So it's a space for kids to go to do some hands-on learning in their environment. The Heart one, the Heart Smart Grant, we won a $1,500 prize. We were part of the Sullivan 180 Heart Challenge during the month of February. And although the elementary really worked hard, I'm with you, the middle school won it. And so we are purchasing portable basketball hoops because we've really instilled a great recess every day for our 7th and 8th graders. And portable hoops will allow the kids to move them, anywhere around the campus. And then the district impact grant, that's our large one. We are participating in a micro-credential for The Leader in Me, which is a part of the Stephen Covey series. And so far, we've had folks that have been participating in this opportunity. And so this will allow for professional development, the purchase of books, and then for our district to move forward with implementing a Leader in Me program for our students and staff.
I think it was noteworthy just to say that they did a good job, and the people really must have worked hard on this because it did take time, and I thank them for that.
Thank you. We are very proud of the receiving the grants. We are very proud of the partnership we have with Sullivan 180. They attend our wellness meetings every month and have just been great partners. They've treated us very well.
Could you mention the people that were involved with these grants on our staff?
Yep. So Mr. Crudelli, Mr. Snyder, Ms. Temple, Ms. Hugler, Ms. Williams. Who am I missing? Is that everybody? That's everyone.
Thank you.
Any more discussion on number 11? All right, this is an action.
Oh,
Do I
I'm
have a
good.
motion? Motion by Jerry. Do I have a second? Second by George. There's going to be a vote by hand. Raise your right hand if you are in favor.
Tim, just
Sure.
there's 4 different ones under 11. So I think you have to read each one.
Well, we can vote. I think we can vote, right? And then we're going to read them in, correct?
So are we voting on A right now?
Well, I didn't delineate which ones I wanted. I wanted all of them. So I don't think it takes a separate vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
The vote is going to be if we approve item 11 as a whole. We have a motion. We
Thank
have
you.
a second.
Okay, just making sure.
Do the best I can. I think this is right. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby accept the Sullivan 180 grant for empowering a healthier generation competition grant in the amount of $10,000 as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Subject B, the Sullivan 180 grants Healthier Generation Heart Smart Grant. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby accept the Sullivan 180 grant for empowering a Heart Smart Challenge grant in the amount of $1,500 as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Subject C, Sullivan 180 grants Healthier Generation District Impact Grant. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby accept the Sullivan 180 grant for empowering a Healthier Generation District Impact Grant in the amount of $20,000 as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Subject D, Sullivan 180 grants Healthier Generation Competition Grant Secondary. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby accept the Sullivan 180 grant for empowering a Healthier Generation Competition Grant in the amount of $10,000 as attached to the public portion of the agenda. All right. Next up, we have old business. Anybody have any old business? Okay. Next, we have the public comment session for items that are not on tonight's agenda. I see no public commenters out there. All right. And then we have new business. Subject A, 25-26 contract for health and welfare services between TVCSD and the Goshen Central School District. This is an action. Do I have a motion? Motion by Pat. Do I have a second? Second by Nicole. Do we have any discussion? All right, please proceed to vote. You want to vote by hand? All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Be resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the 25-26 contract for health and welfare services between the Tri-Valley Central School District and the Goshen Central School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve payment in the amount of $950.75 to cover the cost of one student to the Goshen Central School District for non-resident tuition. All right, subject B. Resolution to close out capital projects and transfer remaining fund balance to general fund. This is an action. Do I have a motion? Motion by Jerry. Do I have a second? Second by Nicole. Any discussion?
Yes, if I may. It says at the end of the resolution, it says effective immediately and what? Not quite complete.
So there was a ending or event. Yeah. So there is no more after it.
And in that, no way by law, that can be put back into our fund balance?
That goes back into the general fund.
Yeah, so it can't be used in the fund balance that we're trying to build back up.
That's where it's going. It's going from the capital fund into the general fund. That will help the fund balance.
Thank you. Thank you.
Electronic for this. All right, electronic vote. All right, that passed unanimously. Be it resolved, whereas the Tri-Valley Central School District Board of Education previously authorized various capital projects, and whereas all of the aforementioned capital projects have been completed with final expenditures paid, and any remaining fund balance has been determined as $549,316. And whereas the Tri-Valley CSD Business Office has reviewed the final financial reports for these projects and confirmed that no further obligations or expenses remain. And whereas the Board of Education has determined that the remaining balance in the capital project fund should be transferred to the district's general fund for future use, consistent with the district's fiscal policies and New York State regulations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tri-Valley Central School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the closure of the following capital projects: school renovation, local projects, reconstruction project, security vestibule, smart schools bond, energy performance, 2020 district-wide, as per 2025 audited financials. Be it further resolved that the Tri-Valley Central School District Board of Education authorizes the transfer of any remaining balance from the above-mentioned closed capital project funds into the district's general fund, amounting to $549,316, effective immediately. All right. Subject C, MOU between the Tri-Valley Central School District and Frank Snyder. This is an action. Do I have a motion? Motion by George. Do I have a second? Second by Tammy. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote. All right, that motion carries 7-2. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the MOU between Tri-Valley Central School District and Frank Snyder. Next, we have item D, Records Access Officer Appointment, Jeff Froelich. And this is an action. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Jerry, second by George. Any discussion? All right, please proceed to vote. All right, that passed unanimously. Let's move on to, hold on. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the appointment of Jeff Froelich as the Records Access Officer. Subject E, resolution, Daniel Pierce Library Legal Notice. This is an action. Do I have a motion? Motion by Pat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote. That motion passed unanimously. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Daniel Pierce Library, the library, has approved an annual appropriation of $549,000, which sum consists of $500 law. The Board of Education of the Tri-Valley Central School District, Sullivan County, New York, hereby authorizes and directs the district clerk to give notice to the qualified voters of the district of the special meeting and charge the library for the costs associated with holding the special meeting. And it is further resolved that the district clerk is hereby authorized to amend the notice of the special meeting from time to time, as in her discretion, such amendment may be required. And it is further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. All right. Next, we have subject F, use of facilities, Ellenville Central School District. This is an action, a motion. Motion by Jerry. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. Do we have any discussion on this?
I know I asked the question before, but does that cover everything that we need to cover for their using it? And also, are they participating in using the facility at the same time our athletes out there working out?
So our track athletes are out early when school dismisses, and they usually are off the track around 4:30. They do their physical running practice, and then they come in and they do a weight room training. So I think the transition will be easy for them to do. There might be some overlap, but for the majority, our track kids are done on the track around 4:30. They come in the weight training and the facilities inside.
Are the meets also at Tri-Valley? Their meets?
No, they're not holding any meets.
So it's just
Mhm.
practice? Thank you.
Yes.
Aaron, I have a question. If there is overlap, will there be any potential issues with? I mean, just asking.
I'm not anticipating any issues. This, Mr. Cudelli worked this out with the coaching team before we actually agreed to do any of this. And it's really part of that partnership. A lot of districts are under that construction right now. And so when we get to that phase in our project, we're going to need to use somebody else's field too. So we're just extending, our hand to them.
Have they agreed that when it's our turn next year, that they'll be the same? All right.
Are we passing the baton?
Nice in the sandbox.
I have a question. So they're only coming here once or twice a week. They're not coming every day.
No, they're using Rondout and they're using us.
And then do we anticipate them needing our facilities in the fall as well?
Not at this time.
Okay, so it's only spring track at this
Mhm.
point.
Any other discussion on this?
Well, that would have to be approved after the next school year, correct?
It would have to be approved after the next school year, and it really, of course, it's outdoor project, so it's weather dependent and how, how long the construction company gets along, but they've already started the process. They started last summer, so, they just asked us to use the track. I think Rondout Valley is hosting their invitational this year, so they kind of splits the difference between the two districts.
Mr. Cadelli, you have anything to add on this?
What about practices for them in the fall? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, proceed to vote. Right, that passed unanimously. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the use of Tri-Valley Central School District's field and track by Ellenville Central School District while their field track are being renovated. Subject G is up next, property tax report card 2526. This is an action. Do I have a motion? Motion by Kerry. Do I have a second? Second by Pat. Any discussion?
Can you give us a rundown on that? Is this for delinquent and also made whole? Is that part of it?
So what the property tax report card is, it's really showing you what last is, or this current year budget compared to the adopted budget for next year. Just showing the total budget amount and what the total tax levy is going to be, and then it also will list out all the district's reserve fund and any planned use that they'll have next year. One of the required forms by New York State that we have to file and then submit to them after.
Since it does talk about property tax, did we have delinquent properties?
Now, this has nothing like with the
I was just wondering if the county made us whole. That's my question.
the have not.
What? So that's deadline is April.
Yeah.
Just keeping track of the money. Thank you.
Proceed to vote. That passed unanimously, and we are, be it resolved, the board adopts the property tax report card for 2526 as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Up next is 17, donations. We have a donation from Larry Watson. This is an action. I have a motion. Motion by Jerry. Do I have a second? Second by Kerry. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote. That passed unanimously. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools that the Board of Education approves the donation of pens, markers, and binders from Larry Watson, community resident. Subject B, donation from Tractor Supply. This is an action. Do I have a motion? Motion by Pat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. Any discussion? All right. Please proceed to vote. That passed unanimously. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools that the Board of Education approves the donation of 18 Baird Rock Pullet chicks from Tractor Supply of Liberty. Okay. And next up, we have item C, donation. Michelle Friedman. Do I have do I have a motion? Motion by Jerry. Do I have a second? Second by Kerry. Any discussion?
If I'm correct, that appears to be some type of literature, a book. And generally, any kind of literature like that is approved by the district or the superintendent. Have you read that book?
I have not read the book.
In the shadow of the Holocaust on a Catskills.
Is there anything in our policy in reference to that? Literature-wise? Approval by the chief operating officer of the district.
Well, then I would be really busy reading, George. Try to prove every
Well,
book we purchased,
I'm sure you're well
which I'd be
educated.
just happy to do. Just give me a room to sit in. I've not read it, but I will look it over before we put it on the shelf.
So we approve it now or approve it later?
George, but let me read the letter. Maybe this will make it a little more clear. I got a letter
No,
here.
that's all right.
I'm going to read it anyways for the group. Dear Mrs. Everly, it is with tremendous gratitude that I send this book, my memoir of growing up as a child of Holocaust survivors on a chicken farm in Divine Corners. I attended Tri-Valley from 1st through 10th grades. I would have graduated with the class of 1970, and school was both a haven and a place of discovery. Old timers still at Tri-Valley might remember Inez Gridley, 2nd grade, Audrey Kelly, 4th grade, Miss Manel, math, Richard Coombs, social studies, Arlington Vischer, music and band. These were some of the gifted and dedicated teachers who meant so much to me. While many years have passed during which life blossomed in many directions, I treasure my memories of growing up in the country and going to school at Tri-Valley. I hope this book will find a place in the library. Best wishes, Michelle.
I know the individual, I know the location, and the reason I bring it up because it will bring publicity to that book. So it maybe more people would read it. Thank you.
Please proceed to vote. That passed unanimously. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools that the Board of Education approves the donation of a memoir by Michelle Friedman describing growing up as a child of Holocaust survivors while living on a chicken farm on Divine Corners. All right. Next, we have the board comment session. Cam, you want to start with?
Good evening, everyone. Aaron, I'm just wondering, are we putting an ad into the yearbook from the board congratulating all of our seniors as well as the Democrat?
We did not put an. We wrote a letter that you approved, and that letter is in the yearbook.
Okay, just seeing if we did anything extra.
Mhm.
Rose?
I wanted to bring up the microphone issue.
Mhm.
4 different microphones have had issues tonight. I think in the past, Aaron has said we have to make sure that the microphones are close to us and we have to make sure that they're off when we're not speaking. Hopefully those are the only issues and it's not something bigger that maybe we have to look into. Yeah, definitely a problem for viewers at home looking back at this meeting. The other thing I wanted to ask, I saw on our calendar on our website that prom is coming up on the 25th. Where is that being held this year? At the Villa Roma? Okay.
Villaroma.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Question for you, Aaron. The early college coasts are partaking in that? We are not. It's close. Okay. Okay. Will you do the tuition reimbursement that we did this year next year? That's the plan.
George?
Maybe a thank you to the people that donated. Also, maybe a letter to the paper in reference to our Sullivan. We had it's the same way. Have we had a response from the DEP yet in reference to our bug?
No response from the DEP. And just as a standard practice, we write a thank you note for all of those. So a note goes out from us every time. So those have already been written and mailed. I'll reach out to Mr. Rush tomorrow just to make sure that he's received everything and if he has any questions.
In reference to the pond and the decoys, somebody said something about down. They came down and got it. And when they came down, there was a fox or a coyote near the pond. And 2 ducks within 2 feet of them. So I guess good time communicating. So the sooner we get that pond out of there, the better.
Yes.
I didn't see any water snakes at that time, though.
Did you go in?
I was tempted to get them geese out of there. An important thing I forgot.
Just very brief, thank you, Sullivan Bosse's, for coming and providing all of that information to us. We appreciate that.
Chris, what do you got?
Okay. So, nothing new from the students over break. I think they had a good transition after break straight into school, which is good. I've noticed a lot of college trips that the guidance counselors are offering, which is a great opportunity for the students. And with the geese, I've noticed a lot less geese on the track. I'm on track and field. I'm not a goose expert, but I think it is the flags that's doing something with it. Because when they were not by the pond, they were all there, and now we put them by the pond, and I haven't seen any. Someone said there was 2, but yeah, that's it. I hope everyone had a good break.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Nicole?
I have no comment on the goose situation with this meeting. I think it's all been taken care of. But I also second Rose on this microphone situation because this has been months on end that we've been going back and forth. And people have reported that when they are watching on YouTube, this is what you hear. And it's very frustrating. So we have to come up with a solution. You could talk as close as you want, but people's microphones are still not picking up conversations. And it's a disservice to people at home. So we can just address that. Other than that, hang in there. We're so close to the end. Seniors, go to school. I know you have senioritis really, really badly. But as a mom of a senior, hang in there. You're so close, so close.
I'm good.
About these 2 geese. No, just kidding. I'm good too. Thank you guys all for sticking around. It's been quite a night here. Next up, we have motion to adjourn.
Second.
Man. A motion by Jerry, second by Nicole. All in favor? Raise your right hand. And that is unanimous. Everybody have a good night. Meeting's over at 8:47.